Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie. This is all about my life after gastric bypass surgery. And I'm currently, right now, going through a dumping episode. We've talked a little bit about dumping in the past, and I honestly don't have dumping episodes very often anymore, but I am currently going through one right now and figured I would record it and kind of talk about it a little bit. And if I can get this on my Fitbit on the screen at all. Oh, what is that at right now? 91. I have a heart rate of 91. It was just at about 93. It keeps fluctuating up and down. That is the number one way that I know I'm about to have a pretty tough dumping episode, or just one in general, is that my heart rate goes up, and I feel it in my chest, which always leads me to look at my Fitbit. It's at 94 now. And sometimes if I'm just randomly sitting around and I look at my Fitbit, my fiance will ask, like, is it your heart rate? Is it what you just ate? Again, it doesn't happen that often anymore for me. The last time I had a dumping episode was several weeks ago. I get hiccups a lot too when this happens. Last time I had a dumping episode was several weeks ago, and that was the first one in honestly a really long time. And I really felt sick. I'm trying to remember what I ate. I don't off the top of my head, but I remember laying on the couch and I was just feeling really, really sick. And my fiance was talking to me and just like, feeling bad for me essentially that I was going through that. And about halfway through, I was like, I should have been recording this. Like, I should record it and show like what it's like when I'm going through a really bad one, especially because it doesn't happen very often. And so I'm sitting here now, and I was realizing that I really should just record and just talk about it a little. Also, my plan tonight was to just make a glass of tea and sit in front of the camera and just talk about what's going on right now in my life, just as a general update and kind of tea time, because I don't have a video prepared. And I've just been really busy, and there's just been a lot going on. So I figured that would be a good opportunity to just kind of catch up and talk to you about what I'm going through. And now this happens. So not only am I not going to have a glass of tea, I probably won't drink anything for a long time, because it usually takes me, I don't know, probably a good hour after I've been feeling sick and having dumping to feel like I even want to drink anything, which is tough because I want to stay hydrated, especially if in a situation like this, like, I might change my mind, but it's about 5 o'clock right now, and I feel sick enough that I can't even imagine wanting to eat dinner tonight. And I'm just thinking, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just drink water later and stay hydrated and just not eat anything. And I'm probably, the number one thing about dumping, I don't want to say the number one thing, but one of the things about dumping is that it comes on pretty fast and then it goes away. I don't want to say it goes away pretty fast, but like when it's time to go away, it just disappears and I just feel better. So although I feel pretty awful right now, I know that when I feel better, in about 20 to 40 minutes, depending on, I will feel much better. So I'm at 96 beats per minute right now. So I am going up slightly. A little bit sniffly, if you can hear. I'm getting a really full, really uncomfortable, slightly nauseous feeling. So right now my stomach feels really full. I feel nauseous. I feel like, I don't know if other people experience this the same way I do. I'm learning in my adult life that things that I experience aren't universal, just in general. Um, I have a distinct, like my body, I know there's a distinction between I feel sick and I'm actually going to throw up. And I can feel really nauseous and feel like I'm going to throw up. I feel awful, but know that I'm not going to throw up. And that's how I feel right now. And that's how I feel with all of my dumping, except for one episode I had one time where I was literally gagging in the bathroom over the toilet, but I wasn't vomiting. I wasn't throwing up. And I haven't. I would like to point out I have not thrown up a single time since surgery. So that's, I'm approaching a year and a half. I'm at almost 16 months post-op. And in addition to that, I hadn't thrown up for a long time before surgery. So it's been a very long time since I've experienced anything like that. So that's not what my dumping episodes are like. I know sometimes people experience just having to throw up what they ate. They feel so uncomfortable, or they don't have any choice with it. I know some people experience it out the other end. There are a lot of different ways that people experience it. From my understanding, from listening to people who have VSG, sleeve versus bypass, a lot of times, and this is just anecdotally from what I see on posts and stuff, a lot of times when people who have had the sleeve talk about dumping, they are more often referring to body fluids, one or the other. They get foamies, just kind of like a gurgly foamy thing in their mouth. They actually vomit, or they have diarrhea or something like that, and that certainly can be part of dumping. But I think more often than not, that's not really a dumping syndrome. I think people get very confused by the term dumping. They think that means that you're dumping, I think, things out of your system, and it's actually the opposite. Dumping is referring to things dumping into your system, so things going from your stomach to your intestines too quickly. When food has not been properly digested in the stomach and moves too quickly from the stomach into the intestines, and it has not been digested enough, it hasn't spent enough time with your stomach acid and everything, it can make you really sick. And so you will experience that sometimes with, like a lot of times with sugar. If sugar gets into your intestines before your body's really had a chance to digest and deal with it, that's what causes this. That's what caused this for me. A neighbor this weekend brought over some cupcakes, and I ate one, and my fiance ate one on, was it Saturday? And it was fine. I ate one a few minutes ago, was not fine. I think there are a few reasons for that. One, I've had a pretty empty tummy today, and when I eat sugar on top of a pretty empty tummy, I think things go through me too quickly. That's one problem. There's my sniffles again. Still at 95 BPM. Still not feeling great. The other, what was I saying? This happens a lot too. Brain fog. I just feel all around not right when I'm going through dumping. I feel nauseous. I feel sick. I feel like I'm having a hard time concentrating. So I was sitting here trying to work through this. I was trying to finish work for the day, and I couldn't do it. I just can't concentrate on what I'm writing on the computer. I just can't. More hiccups. Hiccups and burps. That's 3 in a row. Burps are a big one because my stomach is upset. And so the more upset my stomach is, the more it does that churning, oh my gosh, I'm trying to digest and I don't feel good kind of stuff. And it makes me gassy and it makes me burp a lot. So, what are some other things that are going on? I would go lay down. I'm not sure that that's helpful. I do know that if you want to slow down your digestion, you should lay down after you eat. I've always been suspicious that if I lay down every time I have a dumping episode, even though I really feel like I want to lay down and close my eyes and rest. Okay, new development. Now I feel really, really unwell. My stomach is making a lot of noises. And I am now not producing a lot of saliva in my mouth. Which to me is usually a sign that I might throw up. I would really like to avoid that because I haven't yet since surgery. If you can't tell, just talking is making me gag a little bit. So I'm a little nervous. Which is one reason why I usually, I think, lay down. I hope this is informative. I have been thinking about recording these, but I usually think about it too late. And it's always been so hard for me to I don't even think I was saying the right thing there. I always think about these things too late. I suddenly feel a lot better. So that's passed. What I was saying is that I usually have a really hard time putting into words how I'm feeling. And that's why I thought it might be helpful to actually just record while it's happening so that not only I can try to describe what I'm feeling as I'm feeling it, but you can see what I'm going through. I feel infinitely better all of a sudden. My stomach still feels really full and tight. So it's definitely still upset, and my heart rate is at 98 now. So although I feel better, my heart rate is still climbing. So there's that. I also get a little bit of like a cold sweat going on. So I'll get nauseous, cold sweat, feel like I need to lay down, brain fog. It's just like my body is shutting down for a moment, and it's just like I can't handle what's going on here, and it just like turns off like some non-essential functions, and so my ability to concentrate goes away. I can't really think about anything else, and sometimes are worse than others. That I've not really gotten that close to feeling like I was going to physically be sick in a long time. That normally doesn't happen. So of course, the one time that I record it so that you guys can know what that's like, I have a pretty pretty awful one. It's been 14 minutes since I started recording. I started recording probably about 5 to 10 minutes into this. And usually it's about 20 to 45 minutes is like the longest I think I've ever had an issue where it just felt like it went on forever, and it was like 45 minutes. And then I suddenly felt better. I think right now we're looking at about 20 to 25 minutes total, and my heart rate is coming down a bit. I'm feeling a lot better. And it's like night and day. Like you just feel really, really awful for a while. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I feel better. And I have heard that some people have really, really, really awful experiences. If you experience dumping where it comes on quickly and you're just vomiting for 30 minutes and then you feel better, of course, you're going to want to never do anything that's going to make you feel that way again. Whereas someone like me who just experiences feeling quite unwell for 20 to 30 minutes and then, bouncing back, it's a lot easier for me to make a conscious decision to go ahead and have something sweet, knowing it could make me feel that way, because it's way less impactful than if I were to get violently sick every time I eat sugar. So, there are pluses and minuses to that. I willingly got bypass. I specifically got gastric bypass partially because of dumping. It is much more common for people who have gastric bypass to have dumping episodes. And I've talked about this before in the past. The anatomy of your stomach after gastric bypass, the bypass portion is rerouting your intestines, which means that you no longer have a pyloric sphincter in your stomach, which helps regulate food as it's being digested into your intestines slowly. So it is a lot easier for food to go from my stomach to my intestines without being regulated in any way if I'm not careful. So dumping is just inherently easier and more prevalent for people who have gastric bypass. And that was something that I wanted. I wanted that as a deterrent for me to not eat so many sweets. I have a huge sweet tooth. Prior to surgery, it was a huge, huge problem. In addition to my very large serving sizes, my very large portion sizes, my other biggest problem, aside from, like my binge eating episodes, for example, would be my sweet tooth and the fact that I just ate sweets in mass quantities way too often. So I wanted to know that I was getting that under control with the surgery, as well as having a small stomach pouch. So I am very aware when something like this happens. I do make a mental note on what made me sick. And as I said before, I had one of these cupcakes this weekend and it did not make me sick. So I figured I would have, the one that remained today as a snack. Not a good idea. Now I know. Is it surprising? No, because sweet bread products really do make me sick often. And that's something that I should have been suspicious over the fact that it didn't make me sick this weekend. And I should have just avoided it. Something like banana bread always makes me sick. Gives me really bad dumping. I've had only a couple of bites, and it doesn't matter. It makes me sick every time. Even something like a low calorie, it was a Skinny Taste, if you're familiar with Skinny Taste as a website, as a recipe website. It was one of her carrot cake recipes I made last year, I believe it was. So just about exactly a year ago for my sister's birthday. And I had a small piece of it. It was low calorie, low fat, low sugar. Thought it wouldn't be a big deal. In fact, I think I made it sugar free. It wasn't even just low sugar. I'm pretty sure I made it sugar free. And it made me very sick. So it's those sweetened bread products. It's something in addition to the sugar. It's also the consistency the very fluffy bread thing, or cake-like. Those things make me sick more often than not. You know, I make a mental note of these things and I eat less and less of them as time goes on, but it doesn't stop me from trying sometimes. And that reinforcement saying, nope, that's just something that you're not going to be able to have. I should have been happy with just the one that I got to eat this weekend without it making me sick. And I should have given the second one to my fiance. So it is a learning process. Even at 16 months out, I am still learning, and I'm still reminding myself that it's not worth it to do those things. It's just not worth it. It doesn't make me feel good. And I've now lost a half hour of my night just sitting here trying to not get sick and try to feel better and concentrate on what I'm working on. So I'm still at 96 for my heart rate, which is surprising because I don't feel it. And usually if I'm in the 90s, I can feel it in my chest pounding away, and I just get this like hollow feeling like right here. And I don't really feel that. I feel a lot better, but still quite an elevated heart rate. I'm going to let this come down, and now I'm at 93. So it's coming down. I'm going to let my heart rate continue to come down. I'm going to focus back on the last bit of work that I'm trying to do for the day, and then call it a night. I will probably not eat food for another couple of hours. Even though it's kind of approaching dinner time, I am just, my stomach needs a break and a rest from whatever just happened. So when I feel up to it, probably in 30 to 45 minutes, I will start drinking some water so that I can at least stay hydrated, and not fall behind on water intake. And I've already kind of fallen behind a little bit today. But there you go. There is a dumping episode for you. Because I didn't do it early on because I didn't feel good. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for continuing to support my journey. And if you're not yet a subscriber, if you like this kind of insight, if you like this kind of stuff that I put out there, trying to just show what one person's experience is after this surgery, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you know whenever one of my videos goes live. And I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you stay happy and healthy, and always look at the big picture, especially when you're going through a time like this and you wonder, was this worth it? Look at the big picture. And I'll see you guys later.